everybody. Welcome to Between Frets, a space where female musicians meet and discuss all things music. I'm your host, Genny Jam, and we are back for a new season, Fret Sisters Between Frets. Today, we welcome the amazing Gabi Rose. She is an artist, singer, songwriter, saxophonist, multi-instrumentalist from Long Island, New York. She collaborates and performs live with many artists and even with her own original project, En Rose. Her online presence has exploded, showcasing her music and viral cover videos. Her music is also available on all streaming platforms. Please welcome Gabi Rose. How you doing?
Hi, Genny Jam. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. I think we're on the East Coast. You're in New York right now?
I'm in New York. Where are you right now?
I am in DC.
Okay. Yeah. East Coast.
Yep. East Coast, baby. Yeah. I wanted to let you know that Fret Sisters extends a warm welcome to you and thanks you for being our guest today here on Between Frets.
Thank you so much. It's my honor. Seriously. Cool, bad, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse, bad ASS women doing cool music stuff. I'm all for that community.
Yep, you can say what you want.
Okay, good.
You can cut. We are like no filters here. So.
All right, good, because I'm no filter.
Yeah, right. It's cool. So just by looking at your work and reading about you all over, it's inspiring seeing everything that you've done. So, my first question is, where did that inspiration come in the beginning to get you started in music?
Thank you. Yeah. So I started in music when I was little. It was really just my dad would listen to things he was listening to a lot of smooth jazz, but also stuff like Yes and Steely Dan, and just I was just listening to a lot of music growing up, but I don't come from a musical family. So I just had this creative bug. So even if I wasn't doing music, which violin was actually my first instrument, which I started learning in school, but music wasn't 100% what I was doing. I was just loving anything that was creative. So I was singing and I was acting and I was all into art and illustration and everything. What really made me focus and zero in on music specifically was when I got to college and I was all of a sudden in this community of just music loving people who just wanted to jam and write music and learn and grow together. So that was the first time that I really started doing all that stuff and collaborating with people and learning a lot more about being a musician and how to be a musician in the real world. And it was really my peers that were only a little bit older than me or my age that inspired me and made me realize I can do this and I want to do this. So it's always been that community that's kept me going.
Oh, that's amazing too, that your influence, just listening to what records of what your parents are listening to, or just kind of that to inspire you. I mean, and then to be where you are right now, that's just an amazing thing to hear, that you just did it all on your own, really.
Yeah. I've always been just the most open-minded person. I never had this dead set thought about where I was going to end up. I just kind of wanted to let the world and the universe and my surroundings take me wherever I was meant to be. And then obviously when opportunities would present themselves, just hustle and rise to the occasion as much as I possibly could and prove myself and try to get to the next level.
And the fact that you were a multi-instrumentalist, I don't know why I can't say that word, but you're a sax player and your sax playing is amazing. You're amazing at everything else, especially your vocals, the singing, your writing and everything. So I guess it was I have all these instruments I'm interested in, and now here's this sax that I'm really loving more. How did that come about, or what was your way of that approach?
Yeah, I mean, I always thought the saxophone was the coolest instrument. I thought my mom says that I thought when I was young that it just looked really cool, which it does.
Yeah.
Undeniably. But I always had that sound in my head, and I thought it was very unique. And I think what made me kind of declare that, I guess, as my primary instrument was honestly just the fact that there was a need for it. Like, not too many people were doing it. Even though I love playing piano and I love learning more about playing guitar and like all these other instruments, there just weren't that many saxophone players in, at least, you know, in my community and like what I was doing. And so people were really into like giving me opportunities to play and record. And so it just kind of happened that way, you know, and I always feel like it's kind of an extension of me at this point. The other thing is, when I think about music, I'm sure every musician kind of has one instrument that they think of, like if I'm thinking of a scale or anything. Like when I think about music, instead of thinking about like the fretboard or the piano, I think about it, or even my first instrument, violin, I think about it. I visualize a saxophone. So it just kind of happened that way. And I feel really lucky that I play, I guess, a little bit more of a unique instrument, like as my primary instrument, and it feeds into everything else that I want to get better at.
Yeah, yeah. And also the singing, because I know that a couple of like horn players, sax, trumpet, whatever, and a lot of them are really good at singing. Is it because of the way that you're using your mouth? I don't want to sound weird.
For sure. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And I think for sure, because people tell me that I sing the way I play and vice versa, that I play the way I sing.
Electricity, it shocks my lungs. I breathe it in, a world where I have everything I swore I never know. Lost myself in a warm breeze and an open road. It somehow feels like home.
And especially with soloing and riffing and any kind of like stylistic embellishments to both my vocals and my saxophone, I think they're like really similar. So, and I've always also heard that saxophone, even compared to a lot of other instruments, is most like the human voice. And I would like definitely agree with that. It uses so much of the same muscles as singing. It's like breathing, it's your diaphragm, it's your embouchure itself, it's like your like vocal and larynx placement. Like they are very, very similar. And I think some things are different. So like going back and forth really quickly from one thing to another, like I do, it's taken some practice for sure. But I think overall singing helps my playing and playing helps my singing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's so cool. I love that. You had some education, some schooling education you mentioned earlier. So that was a music education that you went to as far as college?
Sort of. Like I didn't plan on being I didn't plan on getting this far. I didn't plan on being like a professional musician. I think if 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, me could see the way I am performing now, like she'd be like really proud. And I also try to remember that as much as possible when I'm getting down on myself about, you know, not being where I want to be. But I think I was lucky that I ended up at the school that I went to. So I went to school upstate New York at State University College at Oneonta, which had not so much a music performance program, but actually a music industry program. So it was full of a lot of students at the time that weren't necessarily like completely like really, really serious technical musicians. It was just a lot of students that loved music and wanted to see if they could learn more about performance or mainly the business. So where I was at was like, I just kind of wanted to learn about, I was a business economics major and then declared a second major in music industry. And I was just thinking maybe I'd work in the business to some degree. And then I just got sucked into the performance aspect of it, which was really, I think, what I was meant to do. And like my peers were no pressure. Like everybody was just so supportive. And I've spoken to other friends that now I end up on the same gigs with, and they might have gone to different schools, and it wasn't as supportive of a community. There was a lot of competition, you know, from stories that I've heard, and my school just wasn't like that. And so it really helped. Like I needed that kind of like encouragement from my friends in order to like, because I didn't have the self-confidence at the time. And then by the time I graduated, I did feel like more of a big fish in a small pond. And I knew that if I was going to pursue music outside of that small school, it was going to be like starting all over again. But I felt like I had developed enough of a foundation to at least try. So yeah, like that jamming kind of community was really like where I learned how to play and gain the confidence that I needed.
Yeah, I think when I actually believe in like the jam session type thing, you know, where if there's anything happening around your city or whatever, and to get thrown into that, you know, thrown in like that it helps. It just helps like build confidence and you know.
And that's exactly what it was. And like in doing that, I still needed to learn like how to play and sing more technically. I needed to learn more music theory. I needed to learn how to solo. I started learning like jazz and all these things. Like I wanted to get better and I wanted to impress my friends. So I was still learning and getting that education. And I had a few professors who were the same way. Like they had come from like long music careers, and they could kind of like give us some more comprehensive education that was more than just like, here's how to be the best at your instrument as you possibly can, but more like, hey, there's so much more to it than that. Like, here's how to be a really respected and patient band member. Here's how to like write a good song. Here's how to collaborate with people. Here's how to talk to booking agents. Here's how to book yourself. Like it was like everything. So I really appreciated the education that I got, because it was like, yeah, it taught me a lot more than just putting pressure on myself about how to be the best musician.
Gosh, that's so great. That type of support that you got. I mean, I want to go to that school.
Yeah, it all worked out like really, really. I would recommend it to anybody who was kind of in a position where I was, like unsure, kind of could have ended up in music, could have not ended up in music, but just wanted to try it. So it was exactly what I needed at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to get into your influences, because I noticed reading your bio, you're like influencing like Erykah Badu, like Lauryn Hill, D'Angelo, like those are huge. I love them. And Amy Winehouse. And when I do listen to your music, I do hear a lot of that kind of like that flavor that you have. You know, I'm sure you have a lot more influences, especially like your dad listening to Yes. That's like, that's so awesome.
Yeah,
like,
I've had like so many different influences throughout the years. I feel really good about it right now, because I feel like so many of those different like influences, even across genres, are kind of coming together with the music that I'm creating now. So like when I was in middle school and high school, just kind of doing anything artistic that I possibly could, I was really into classic rock, indie rock, like all that stuff. That's when I really got into, you know, Nirvana, grunge rock, also then later Foo Fighters, Led Zeppelin. I was really into rock music. I was going to festivals and shows and all that stuff. It wasn't until I got to college and I started studying more jazz and soul music, that R&B music, just in general, like Erykah Badu, D'Angelo, like all the greats, Jill Scott, like they came into my life, and I was looking at music in like a completely different way. And I was like, wow. So those were the artists that I would say, it's like those R&B artists. Also, Hiatus Kaiyote was a band that at the time during college, I was like, I want to write music just like this. Like it was nerdy and technical, but also spiritual, I thought, and catchy. And so R&B really changed my inspiration on music. But now I'm writing music that I feel like is right in the middle of hopefully those R&B influences, but also like I'm getting back to my rock roots, and I'm discovering like metal that I never listened to before that I really like. And I'm trying to, like, now I'm listening to more guitar-based music, whereas for a while I was listening to more keys-based music. And now I'm trying to write music that is kind of right in the middle, combines the rock inspiration that I had from when I was a little bit younger with the things that I've been studying more recently. So lots of different influences, but like it never really ends. And it's been awesome.
Yeah, there's always somebody new, either somebody coming into the scene, or then it's like, oh yeah, you discover somebody like way back when, you know.
Yeah,
that's got to be cool. You know, I want to get into your original music that you mentioned. You have a original project called In Rose, and a lot of, you know, that influence, and you know, you're taking it to a different level. So I noticed listening to your stuff that I do hear, you know, some of that R&B kind of neo soul, I want to say, but more pop. And then kind of like rock, kind of like I hear Thundercat in there, you know, and then I'll hear Ari Lennox, you know, like some Today stuff. So I feel like where you're going is, you, like you said, you're taking that mixture and you're kind of bringing it in a fresh, you know, in like kind of refreshing it in a way, but kind of like bringing that new sound in there.
I started writing songs like, well, I put out an EP. So my first EP under the name N Rose, which is, you know, a project that I hope to grow even, you know, just beyond me. But I wrote a bunch of these songs, which are more R&B based songs that my producer, Anthony Lapardo, has helped me like develop. And that definitely sat more within that neo soul kind of sound. And so we put that out in April, and I brought all live musicians in to play. And I'm very proud of that project because it's really like, just songs that I like were inspired. You know, I can hear the inspiration in those songs, and it's songs that I mainly just kind of wrote on my own. But now, so my boyfriend, partner, his name is Jake. He's the drummer in my band, and he kind of comes from a similar background in the sense of, but he even leans more towards rock. So like he was raised on like rock and grunge and indie and like all that stuff. And so now he's become like my co-writer, as well as Anthony, our producer in the studio. And so it's only now, and with this most recent single that we put out called Disease, where you can definitely still hear those R&B and neo soul elements, but we're bringing in more guitars into the sound and a little bit more distortion. The next song that we're going to release is going to be even more leaning towards that. So I think, you know, when I first started N Rose, I had a vision of, you know, what I wanted to sound like and where I wanted to go. But, you know, going back to earlier in our conversation, how I said, I'm just always open-minded, and I want to just go wherever things take me and then try to rise to the occasion from there. I've realized more this year that my rock roots are calling me more than ever. So it's like, with my TikTok following has grown so much because of me playing guitar riffs on saxophone. So I have this whole series called Guitar Riffs, but on sax. So not only that, but I also joined a touring band called Bill Murray, which is alternative rock, metal, pop, like it's guitar-based music. And I've grown my following even more and my inspiration through that. So rock music has just become so much of a core element of what I'm working on that it's working its way into the new songs that we're going to be releasing shortly.
Yeah, I know. I've seen some of your TikToks, and I love them. the guitar riffs with, you know, the sax doing guitar riffs is genius. I think it is so genius. And I really love the Rage Against the Machine one. But yeah, very creative, very clever. I love it. I did want to ask you for your original stuff is who's playing guitar on that, because they are slaying the guitar. Is that stuff that did you write? Do you write the music and say, this is what I want? Or do you just let the guitar or the instruments do their thing?
So on the Wait Create EP, I had demoed all of the sounds out, like all of the instruments I had demoed out. So like there was already kind of a blueprint. But with guitar, there wasn't so much of a blueprint with those songs because they were more piano based. So I had like all the keys parts written, and then my piano player, Kit Benz, just played them better, you know what I mean, for the recording. But the guitar parts, those were kind of like left up to like embellishing and filling in the space. And my friend Billy Joe Harden, he played on all those songs on the EP, and I thought he did a great job. And then the last song that we just put out, and a lot of the songs that we're going to be doing moving forward are actually Jake, who played drums on everything. And like I said, he's my boyfriend and my partner and now my co-writer. So he's like actually an amazing guitar player, and he was the one that played guitar on the Rage Against the Machine cover that you had mentioned. And he's just like very multi-talented, and especially during COVID, nobody was hiring drummers, so he got his guitar chops like way up, and he's inspiring me to get better and all this stuff. But he played guitar on Disease, and he's gonna be playing guitar on a lot of the other stuff. So yeah. And I'll be playing guitar on some songs too, which you'll hear.
Yay, that's so awesome.
Like I'm realizing a lot of, like with songwriting, you don't have to be necessarily like the best. You just have to be able to like play the part in the way that, you know, you hear it, and the way that like has feeling and is clean and all this stuff. And sometimes I just find myself writing parts, and it's like, why not just record that? Like I'm doing it well, so, and then I can be more proud of it later. So yeah, that's kind of the mindset that we're recording with now. Is like, let's see what we can do ourselves, and then we can also bring people in, other band members, other people, if we have kind of, you know, an idea to bring other people in.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I know, you know, aside from your videos, your guitar cover videos, looking on your YouTube and seeing your original, your music videos of your originals, I'm really just, it's just so beautiful the way that you're telling your story through your music in the videos. And I was really curious on like creatively how that process is, because you know, I'm a video editor, motion graphic designer too, and guitarist. Really? But cool. Just to let you know, but because that's why I'm so intrigued with your work, and especially the creative side of it. What goes into a video, you know, process of doing the music videos?
Well, thank you so much, first of all. Second, I just discovered like making music videos is so fun. Like it's just such an extension of the songs, and it's, you know, it kind of forces you to even go back and like revisit maybe where your mind or where my mind was at when I wrote some of these songs. It's like, how do I paint a picture that is sort of still left up to interpretation for whoever wants to listen, but also kind of relates to whatever I was going through when I wrote the song. So for me, at least so far, because I haven't done a ton of music videos, I think we've done like 3 maybe or 4. And the last one to our song Beautiful Dust is definitely my favorite so far. But for me, it's been a lot of like, I've worked with different videographers for each video based on styles that I've seen them do. And then I think, oh, that would actually be a really cool style for what I have in mind for this video. So I've worked with a lot of different local, like, filmmakers and videographers over here, and we've talked about getting this vision together. So I just think it's so fun. Like even with my Beautiful Dust music video, I like designed the whole set in the studio myself, like with the flowers and, you know, putting flowers in and around the drum set and the lighting. So the guy who filmed, his name was James Morano, and he filmed and edited the whole thing, and he did an amazing job with the lighting too. So for me, it's just an extension of that whole collaborative process, because with video, there's only so much I can do. Like, I've learned enough about video, like filming and editing, to make videos on TikTok and Instagram, but not enough to make a whole like cinematic vision come to life. So that's where I've been just really lucky to work with really talented people who are just as nerdy in video as I am with music.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because definitely looking at your, the work that you do and your TikTok videos, they kind of have like you can see your emotion and your style on both, music, the videos, everything you do creatively on your, even like the cover videos. Mm-hmm. I can tell, the personality comes out of the character. It's really fun. Like,
thank you.
It's very refreshing to see that, and happy that you're continuing that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think like I just want to try so many different things. I don't want to take myself so seriously, because that's what makes it feel like work. And I just want to I want to have fun, and I want my music and every video, even the cover videos, like I want them to be emotional for sure. I want people to feel something, whether it's, humor or something that they can relate to their own life. Like, I want people to feel something. I want to entertain through emotion, but I also just want to keep it light. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to take myself so seriously, and I want to continue with this confidence that I have on stage. I want that to bleed into what I do online, what I do, in the studio with songwriting and all that stuff, because I think it is that kind of just rawness and the fun of performing music, whatever genre it is, that has gotten people to connect with me the most, even in times that I didn't expect it so much. And I'm just kind of riding that wave, and I just appreciate you finding me. I appreciate all the support that I've gotten. And I have a really nice little team behind me that's they're like my cheerleaders, and I always I needed that, from day one. So
yeah, and we need that too. So I think nowadays, with just everything that the whole world has been through, just being able to get online and see something that makes you smile, I mean, that's just so great that that's the contribution that you can give, as a musician, as an artist. And I love it. I love everything about that.
Yeah, totally.
So thank you. Really.
Of course. Yeah, thank you for the same exact reasons. Thank you.
Yeah. So what can we expect in the future? I mean, you said that you're writing, you're doing some new music, something different.
I have so many cool ideas, so I'm really excited. One idea that we're exploring right now is, speaking of some of the covers, like from TikTok and Instagram and everything, I recently had a video of me performing a saxophone solo over Dreams by Fleetwood Mac with my band. That went kind of viral on TikTok, and so many people are commenting where can I listen to this on Spotify? Where can I hear this? So we decided to go into the studio and actually record it. And we did that, as well as a cover of Benny and the Jets, which went viral on Jake's Instagram, where I was also playing. So we're going to release a couple covers and see, how people respond to that. And they sound amazing so far. We're not done recording them. And we also have some more ideas to bring the saxophone even more to the forefront in some of the music that we've already been writing. Yeah, we're doing a lot of recording ideas, and just kind of trying to also treat our presence on, Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube, not take that so seriously either, because I'm realizing that's just, it's almost like social media, just like my TikTok and my Instagram. So let's just record, what we think is super cool, and put it out there, and just see what happens, see what sticks. And we have some live shows coming up. So we're going to be playing at Rockwood Music Hall Stage 2 on November 25th in New York City. And I'm going to be going on tour with Bill Murray, the alternative rock band that I had mentioned. So, and we'll have another original single, which will be called My Happiness, coming out soon. So lots coming out, lots on the chopping block.
Yeah, that's awesome, and we can keep updated by getting onto your social medias. Can you shout out your social media so everybody can follow you and get these updates?
Yeah, so I have 2 different accounts. I have one account for me, which is at Gabi Rose Music, GABIROSE Music, which is Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and then all of those are tied to what you could find from my original project, Enrose, which is ENROSE, Enrose Music. So if you find me, you'll find that, and vice versa.
Yes, and we'll have all these links up in our show notes, as well as the Spotify, YouTube, wherever you can get your music. We'll put that up so people can download or purchase digital purchases, and or stream your stuff. Gabi, it was a pleasure speaking with you today. I'm like so inspired right now.
Thank you, Genny Jam. I've seriously been wanting to like have a conversation like this, and this was fun. And I love like the discourse about music things, and I appreciate you having me on.
Well, we appreciate you, and we are going to keep looking out for you. We're going to support you. When your stuff comes out, we're putting you up there on our page. So
thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, Fret Sisters Between Frets, Gabi Rose. Yay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll only rip off the sheets 'cause you're sleeping next to me, and I can hardly breathe. Take my hand and pull me close, send me into comatose. Take my hand and pull me close, send me into comatose. Take my hand and pull me close, send me into comatose.